Hey friends, I have had a really rough day. We've been trying since August to move into the city, and there have been delays, and the move-in date has been pushed back and has been pushed back and has been pushed back. Well, it looked like finally today we were going to get to move in to the new place. I called on, today's Monday, I called on Saturday. I said, hey, I'm just trying to make sure that everything is okay because we've been delayed so many times. And I had heard from my leasing agent the week before, and she said, you know, I'll get back to you by the end of the week, but it looks like the 18th is when you're going to be able to move in. And I was like, awesome. This is great. I cannot wait to move in. And then I didn't hear anything back from her, and the week was almost going to end, and it was Saturday, and I was like, okay, Monday was the prospective move-in date, but people get sick, maybe she's not there, right? So I called them and I said, you know, hey, is it, you know, on? And the woman that I talked to was like, yeah, everything's fine, the unit's ready, you can move in on Monday. So on Monday I get up and I log on to sign the lease isn't on there. I call them, I'm like, what's up? They're like, what are you talking about? We didn't give you that move-in date. I said, well, I called after I didn't hear back. I called. Anyway, the whole point is that the unit isn't ready, and the earliest it can be ready now is September 30th, and our first move-in date was, I believe, August 4th. So it's been a time. So that's the long story to say one of the factors that I am doing this project is just to get my mind off of the uncertainty. I mean, like, my whole office was packed up last night. I had to unpack everything. I mean, like, other than little ephemera behind me that I was just going to throw into a box at the last minute in a last minute panic. But I just need to get my mind off of it, right? And I had been doing those Bridgerton recaps, but I felt weird about, Bridgerton Reacts, because I felt weird about that. Just because there's that strike going on, and I don't want to do a show that is in production because of those strikes. But I was like, you know, the stuff that's on streaming right now is probably what's saving people's butts. Even though they don't make a lot of money from it, at least, like, it's something. And so I've been torn as to, like, if it's morally okay to continue the Bridgerton things, or should I hold out until the end of the strike? And I decided I'm gonna hold out until the end of the strike, but for right now, I am going to do I'm gonna rewatch Buffy, because that's the other thing. I have been really sad. I've been really sad about Buffy because of all the stuff that came out about how the actresses were treated on set, and not even just the actresses. Like, James Marster said that he was, like, physically assaulted by Joss Whedon, and just the misogyny of Joss Whedon that people have finally started waking up. Like, when he did Dollhouse, I was like, I'm off the train, he's gross. But so many people, like, loved that show, and so many people loved him. But I was like, it's, you know, then that Wonder Woman script leaked, and then there was just all the stuff about the women on Buffy, and I was like, I cannot, in good conscience, you know, I feel bad when I watch this. I feel like I'm watching something bad happen to them. And then I was like, you know what? Those characters are my friends, and, like, I really miss them. That sounds terrible, you know, especially because they're, like, all teenagers, and I'm, like, 43. So I thought I would do, and I had stopped doing the Buffy recaps on my blog, and I feel like I left so much of that undone. I wanted to do the whole show because I have so many thoughts about it. And so I sat down and I went, you know what, this is not problematic on the scale of Harry Potter. You know, like, Joss Whedon has not come out and said point blank, if you watch my stuff, I consider that an endorsement of my personal views and behavior. J.K. Rowling has said that. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just talking myself into it being okay, but I need a project to do because I'm down in the dumps, and I just need a little bit of fun, and I think that this could be fun. So that's what I'm doing now.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand.
In every generation, there's a chosen one. I haven't watched the first episode since I was doing the Buffy recaps. So I'm that was jarring to hear that weirdly generic narrator voice. By the way, don't give me crap about my hair. You just heard my big long sob story of depression and sadness. So, pardon me. I thought I was moving today. I didn't take a shower.
Okay.
I love how groundbreaking this was at the time, but now anyone would see it coming a mile away because so many like people have done that. I wish I had brought a book in here so I could read it during commercials because I'm watching this on Hulu. The opening theme music is different at the beginning too, like in the first seasons. I swear it's different. We'll find out. There he is! Expect a lot of that. This dream sequence goes on for way too long.
I'm up, Mom.
Oh, Buffy gets to move.
No.
Buffy gets to move to a new place.
Okay.
Joyce's hair is so bad. I know that my hair looks like this today, but Joyce's hair is so bad in this season.
I promise.
The other thing is, like, the actors that play, like, Buffy in this, she actually looks like a teenager in season 1. When you get to season 2, they all look way older than the characters they're playing, even though Sarah Michelle Gellar was, like, Buffy's age.
Please move.
Maybe you've learned how to skate, Xander. God, I hate you already.
Okay, see, I want to change.
I forgot how grainy TV used to look.
We want to service your needs and help you to respect our needs.
I don't like what he did with his tongue after he said
Our
that.
needs?
I swear to God, I saw those boots when I was taking my daughter shopping at Forever 21 the other day, and I almost had a full-on breakdown in the middle of Forever 21.
Well, maybe I'll see you around. Maybe at school, since we both
You know what?
go there.
I don't know how to explain it, but George on Grey's Anatomy and Xander Harris from Buffy are the same character.
Oh, hey. Hey, you forgot your steak.
I think that he probably should have said, like, something there to do with vampires, because they live in Sunnydale, and he found a wooden stake. I feel like he would know what a wooden stake was for, because he lives in Sunnydale.
Vamp nail polish.
Over?
James Spader.
He needs to call me.
Okay, so if you were alive at this time, or you weren't alive at this time, Vamp nail polish was a very dark red nail polish. It was like red-black. And James Spader was not someone they would have been discussing.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yes, go in the library, Buffy. I love that the library does not look like the rest of the school at all. Like, the set designer was like, you know what we need? We need a library that looks like super, like, goth and dark academia, and then, like...
Anybody's here.
Can I help you?
You can help me.
I was looking for some, well...
Anyway, the
books
point
on
is...
On 20th
I know
century...
what you're after.
No, you don't. Can you imagine if, like, she actually was the wrong person? Like, I just went to the library and I was just looking for a textbook, and the librarian whipped out this ancient tome with vampire misspelled on the cover.
The chatter in the cast is that she got kicked out, and that's where her mom had to get a new job. Neg. Pause. She was starting fights. Neg Lee. And she said
I'm glad a corpse fell on you. They don't talk like that. I don't know why the writers on this show always get so much credit, because, like, they don't... It's very cringy, because having been that age at that time, I know we didn't talk like that. Like, I know we did not obsess over James Spader. That was, like, my mom's... Like, my mom would have obsessed over James Spader. And even then, you know, she would have been in her 20s.
if you have 6th period free, we could meet in the library.
Or not. Or we can meet someplace quieter. Louder.
She could be like, I'm allergic to books.
The new librarian is really cool.
He's new.
I like how she's like, he's new. No, California, born and raised.
Everyone wants to know about me. How keen?
Well, not much goes on in a one Starbucks town like Sunnydale. You're pretty.
Actually, Xander, you don't have a Starbucks. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Oh, that'll do it. This is like unattended dead guy. This is like so accurate. Like someone could literally die at your school and they wouldn't like let you go home.
Dig a bit in the history of this place and you'll find a steady stream of fairly odd occurrences. I believe this whole area is a center of...
You know what would have probably been better? This is just me rewriting the show. Is if a Slayer attracted vampires. So nowhere Buffy goes can she be free of them. So she's been called and all the vampires come to LA and then she moves and then like all the vampires' demonic activity comes there. That would be really cool. That would be a cool concept.
For getting kicked out of school? For losing all of my friends? For having to spend all
Let
of
him
my
have
time
it, Buffy.
fighting for my life. Go ahead. Prepare me.
Yeah, you didn't think about that. You only think about your own destiny and the fact that you didn't get to be a pilot.
Gee, can you bake that up for me?
My friends and I still say that to each other. We still say, can you vague that up for me? Like, this show is like, these scenes and stuff, they're like so dark you can't see anything. It's like, they use the same cinematographer from The Godfather Part 2.
The truth is, I thought you'd be taller, or bigger muscles and all that.
I'm glad that they dropped the thing from the movie about her, like, having period cramps when vampires were around, and that's how she could tell if they were vampires. Because that was extremely weird.
About to open.
Look how tall his hair is. I mean, like, her hair's up, but, like, his is just, like, just gross like that. Like, just into a point.
Who are you?
Let's just say I'm a friend.
Let's just say I'm gonna be the most rapidly aging vampire you've ever met. That is like the most unimpressive necklace, and they make the biggest deal about it. Like throughout the entire season, is that necklace. Like they make the biggest deal. It could have been like spooky and gothic and stuff, and it would have fit with like the fashion of the time, and everybody would have been like, oh wow, what a cool necklace. I want to get one just like it. Why did she assume that he was waving at her? You did that to yourself, Buffy.
Well, my philosophy.
Look at
Do
that
you wanna hear
blue
my philosophy?
eyeshadow.
Do.
That blue eyeshadow with some Dream Matte Mousse foundation. I feel like the actor who played Jesse just in the pilot would have been a more tolerable actor as Angel. And I think that that actor actually, judging from like other stuff he's done, could have done a better job.
It's not as though you've been having the nightmares.
Sir, you are a teacher. Step back. Move back. Sir.
Like a textbook with arms, I know this.
Point is,
We know that she knows this. Giles, didn't you watch the movie? Donald Sutherland told her all this stuff. That dude looks like Ted Bundy, and she's walking out with him. Absolutely not. A guy could even have like there's like a certain amount of resemblance to Ted Bundy before I get real suspicious. I don't care how nice somebody is. And look, in this case, it would have saved me because that's a vampire.
Excuse me. I have to call everyone I have ever met right now.
So that cell phone being big, one of the interesting things my husband pointed out the other day was that we thought back then that technology was going to get smaller, but look at how big our phones are. They're like about as big as phones used to be at this point. They're just skinny.
Probably will.
I think she would have been a believable teenager in this time period. Because some of the hairstyles we had, we looked like bank tellers. I have to get these without commercials. This is awful. This is like watching it on TV. I hopped on to Buffy the Vampire Slayer at the end of the 5th season. I think the first episode I ever saw was the one where Spike is going to kill Drusilla to get Buffy to love him, which I think is in season 5. It might be in season 6. But whatever, it was in there somewhere that I hopped on.
Sure is dark.
It's night.
Oh, that's a dark time, Knight.
Not for people in Alaska and dudes with night vision goggles. Why aren't vampires going after fat people more? Do fat people have more blood, or is that just something that I'm making up? I feel like I probably have more blood, because, like, look at how much more of me there is than there is of Willow. I feel like I would be, like, there would be more blood, and they would, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, do fat people have more blood? How in danger am I of being eaten by a vampire?
Phew, that's a relief. I'm telling you, having a secret identity in this town is a job of work.
Buffy.
A job of work.
But on the third day of the newest light will come the harvest. And the blood of...
There are so many times when, like, something's happening and Giles is just reading and he just happens to read the exact right page at the exact right time. Like, that happens more than once. It happens almost as often as he gets a head injury. Hey, what up, girl? To be continued. Executive producer, that asshole we don't like. Well, there I have it, I guess. Episode 1. I haven't watched Buffy in, like, literally since I stopped doing the Big Damn Buffy rewatch. So I haven't seen this since I started that. So it's been years. And I'm surprised at how much I remember, but not really, because it was like my comfort show. Like, I would watch it over and over and over again. I don't know, maybe I can get back to that, but I feel like I'm gonna, like, buy it on Amazon rather than just keep watching it on Hulu, because the ads are killing me. They're killing me. If you're gonna watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, I would recommend watching it on Amazon. I know you have to pay for it, but on Hulu, they throw the ads in such weird times, like right in the middle of someone's sentence. It's very weird. So yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna keep doing this to lift my spirits, and yeah. And then maybe that makes up for the fact that I stopped doing the Big Damn Buffy rewatch. Maybe this'll, I don't know. Maybe we'll pivot to video and we'll get all the way through the end without something horrible coming out about the production of the show. And I'm also rewatching it because there's that new audio thing that's going to be coming out on Audible. So I'm excited for that. So, yeah. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, put a notification thing. And tell me in the comments if fat people have more blood. Catch you on the flip side.